By now, you've likely heard the incredible story of that teenage girl who got away from a kidnapper using a hand signal that she learned on TikTok. And that's what it is, in case you've forgotten. She was spotted here in Kentucky, but this story made headlines across the country.
It sure did. Now, joining us this morning is Diane Fleet from Greenhouse 17 for other examples of tricks to use if you find yourself in danger. And this could go for anybody, period, out there, right?
It can go for anybody. So at Greenhouse, we work with folks who are experiencing partner violence, but in this case, right, it was a child abduction. So I think it's a great way to start safety planning with folks that you know in your life. And if you need a secret code word or a hand gesture or figure out those ways to keep our community and our loved ones safe, this was an amazing example.
Yeah, and we talked about how everything went right, because not only did she know the hand signal, someone knew to recognize it. So I think it's wonderful that that happened. What are some other things that people can do, or some other tips that you have?
Yeah, so you know, safety planning's been around in our world for a long time, and you really have to look at what people's resources are. So sometimes we're working with individuals that don't have a phone. So sometimes they'll turn a light on outside, and that lets folks know that they are in distress. Some people might have a secret code word, so if they're talking to their brother, sister, or their children, they might say something that would make sense in the sentence, but it's a little out of place, so it wouldn't catch somebody's attention.
But at the same time, what would a good one be?
Sometimes people might say broccoli, you know, like, we're going to have this, or something they would never fix for dinner maybe, and so come home, we're going to have this, but a kid might know, oh, that's the code word. I think a lot of our more professional settings have used this for a long time, so doctors' offices might go, if you have to go in and you have to sort of give, like a urine sample, you might write something on that. I've heard people say that they'll write things inside of a pizza box. I've heard hair salon and hair stylists are always a place for confidential conversation. So, I think notoriously stylists and barbers are the place where you communicate and feel safe. And your partner's not usually with you. So I'm talking a little more about intimate partner, but you might have in those settings. So I think it's really, this to me was an amazing example of the community wants to help, and they just don't always know how or what to look for. And even though social media can have the downside, it also can get great information out. So what is it in your circle of friends and people and loved ones, in your church, your community, your neighborhoods, your family? What is your signal? And maybe this is it, but does everybody know it?
Now, sometimes people might not have a signal.
Yeah.
What do we need to start looking for? Just because we all, after this happened, we're like, we need to be more aware of what's going on around us. There's other things to look for, right?
Yeah, and I think in this case, this was somebody, from my understanding, that she knew this individual, and at first it might have gone along willingly, right? And then all of a sudden she started to trust herself to go, something's not right here. Something doesn't make sense to me. And I think the same thing with friends and family is this relationship looks a little normal at first, but now I'm seeing signs of this person is withdrawing. They're not being their usual self. They don't seem to be able to answer questions and go about their daily life like they used to. And those are things that I would begin to start suspecting something just doesn't seem right here. And instead of going, maybe that's not my business, or I don't know what to do, really start heightening up your awareness. I think our gut is actually a really good indicator that I don't feel good about this. And then create safe scenarios where you can ask about it and inquire without putting that person in danger.
Why do people ignore their gut so often?
Right, because we don't want to believe the truth, I think. I don't know, but I think that's it. Like the idea of that really happening sounds so terrible. Or if I do ask the question, then I'm going to be put in a position to do something, and I don't know what to do. So, to give Greenhouse 17 a little bit of a plug, if you don't know what to do and you're worried about someone, call us and we can start talking about how to reach out safely and do safety planning. For October, it was Domestic Violence Awareness Month, so we just sent out 100 letters to faith communities to talk about how they can have conversations about family violence and do it safely, where a person can come forward.
And so often people don't know where to turn for help, but thankfully we do have resources like Greenhouse 17. Any other suggestions you have for people if they do find themselves in that situation?
Well, a little bit of a plug too. Fayette County does amazing work in this area too, and Stephanie Theakston, who's the director of the Domestic and Sexual Violence Prevention Coalition, she just put together a beautiful guide. So if you go to that Facebook site or to the city, she put together how to support survivors, because I think so many people do want to do that. They're just
they don't know how.
they don't know how.
Yeah.
They don't know how, and they're afraid of stepping in something they're uncomfortable with or saying the wrong thing. So she put this together, so I really encourage folks to look at that. Call us if you need to. There is great resources, but take care of your folks.
How can we reach you all at Greenhouse 17?
Yeah, so we certainly have greenhouse17.org, so our website. We also have a pretty strong presence on social media, so through Facebook and Instagram. And then our 800 number is 1-800-544-2022.
Well, we appreciate everything you
Yeah.
do, and anytime
Thank
you want to come
you.
by and remind us some of these
Okay.
things, I think you can't use enough reminders because
I
it is an
know.
all too real issue.
Yeah, and an amazing story. Yeah, thanks.
It terrified me being a father, thinking, well,
Yeah.
that could be my
Right?
child, you know what I mean?
What
So
a smart young lady.
it was
yes.
fantastic. Thank
yes.
you.
You're
again.
welcome.
Well, coming up